Hi, and welcome to Real Life with Jenny. My name's Jenny Senaparatna. Grab your favorite drink and a snack, and we will get started. Today, I am so disorganized that I forgot some tea and I forgot a snack. So, I have some water, which I have with me everywhere, and I'm eating a mandarin orange for breakfast because it is that kind of day. So, let's get real. Honestly, have you ever had those weeks where one day is super productive and you're like, I am knocking life out of the park? Like, I got everything done. I made dinner from scratch. Ah. And then the next day and the day after that, you're like, did I brush my teeth today? Um, you're like, I'm not even sure which end is going where. Like, it is crazy pants. That has been my life for the last year. I am super productive one day, and the next day I'm like, what was I doing with life? I call it my Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, I get really low and really depressed. I used to get depressed on Sundays right before you go to work on Monday morning. You know how you're like, life is over. We have to go back to work. Blah, blah. For me, now it's Tuesdays. I have no idea why it's Tuesdays. I've tried to change things up and move things around. I call it my Tuesdays. And Kevin's always like, do you have the Tuesdays? I got the Tuesdays. I'm just really unmotivated. I do not feel like I'm making a difference no matter what I try to put into life. And so I am currently sitting in a room full of boxes. I do not enjoy piles of things. That actually makes me kind of crazy. I used to be in charge of hundreds of files and paperwork, and like my whole job was paper pushing and moving this pile to that pile to that pile. Like that was my whole job. Ah! And I absolutely hate piles. And right now, my what we call a lounge, it's actually just our third bedroom. It's super little, and you can barely fit two people in the room, but it is full of boxes. Because after 22 years of living in this house, we have decided to get rid of the carpet that we got when we originally walked into this home 22 years ago. So we are packing everything up so when they come, we can just move it into the one room we're not doing because we've done one room since we moved here to recarpet it. So everything will move there and the rest of the house will get redone. So I'm living in chaos, which made Tuesday even weirder because now I'm not motivated. I feel like I'm no longer have a purpose and I'm living in chaos. Have you ever had that? Do you ever just look around going, how did I get here? What happened in my life to get me here? And so I have been thinking about this for a while and sharing this process with you because probably a year ago, I watched this movie. I know I never do this. I watched this movie A Week Away. It is a teeny boppy movie. It is something my daughter absolutely loved. But they sing a song in there called Amazing God. My God is an awesome God. And they sing it so beautifully, and it's, my God is an awesome God. And then in the middle, it breaks into the song, God only knows. And I'm like, that is exactly how I feel. Like, God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows what's killing you. And I'm like, that is so the truth in our lives. That really, not many of us have a podcast to come on and say, my life is chaotic. A lot of us look at other people's lives and see them singing, our God is an awesome God, and worshiping, going, thank you, God, for everything you've given me. I'm so blessed. When inside they're also going, God, only you can see this. Only you can see my tears. Only you can see my pain. Only you can see the chaos and how I'm feeling inside. And I honestly feel like that's part of my purpose. And it's really hard for that to be your purpose. To be the person that says, you know what, guys, I don't have it all together. I am completely and utterly lost. I feel worthless most days. You know, when you go from a job that has a 9 to 5, here's what you do, here's your expectations, here's your, here's the levels you need to hit, and you have regular meetings where they tell you you're doing good, bad, or ugly. And then you go into this, what other people would look at and go, wow, you're living the dream, right? You're living and doing what God calls you to do, and it's amazing. And I am struggling. I am desperately struggling to feel a purpose and feeling worthy, to feel worthy to even get out of bed. And I think so often in life we look at people and things and we just see them worshiping and we just see them bubbly and giggly, and we don't see the inside going, God, you only know. Only God knows. Only God knows the struggles that you're going through. Only God knows what your marriage looks like, what your finances look like, what it looks like with your kids or your job. Only God knows that. Only God knows your mourning and your grief. Whether it's grief over a lost one or grief over a job or grief over, you fill in the blanks. Only God knows that. And I love that in the Bible we have these people who are so flawed and so live such crazy lives. I absolutely love David. I know that he kind of annoys me. Sometimes he's just one of those guys that you're like, really get it together. Like, just get it together. How often do you have to flub up? But really, when I take it back a level and I look at David's life and I look at a man that was just trying to get through, he went from being a shepherd boy to the king of Israel. And the process that he had to go through, people trying to kill him, being hunted for years, living in the desert with his mighty men, trying to survive day to day and not be caught, going through battle after battle after battle. We don't look at that, right? We look at, here's King David, like he had it all together, and then he threw it away on Bathsheba. And you're like, come on, dude. But really, he didn't have it all together. He just had a God who knew. He had a God who knew what he was going through. And he turned to that God and said, God, I feel worthless. I feel pointless. When you read through Psalms, sometimes you just see these raw emotions and you're like, oh, those make me really uncomfortable. In fact, I used to read through Psalms and be like, ooh, these are really uncomfortable emotions. And then I realized, wait a minute, those are my emotions. I'm angry. I'm sad. I'm at a loss. I'm looking like, God, do you have a plan here? Is there something bigger than me? Because I'm really hoping there are. When he's talking about the sky and anyway, when he's talking about things that are bigger than him, sometimes you're just like, God, are you out there? Like, is this real? Because I'm feeling really lost. So for those of you this week that are feeling like God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows it's killing you. But you serve an awesome God who does know. And I just want you to know that he has a plan. This week I was praying over a church that we were going to, and God brought up Jeremiah 29:11. And I so rarely talk about Jeremiah 29:11 because it's one of those verses that we use so much, it actually has lost its meaning to us. Like, it's not as big of a deal anymore. It's kind of like be strong and courageous, because that's everywhere. And that verse is definitely Jeremiah 29:11. For God has a plan for you, a plan to give you a future and a hope. And yes, I just minimized the whole thing. But I really felt like God in my spirit this week said, the thing that's most important about that, we've always focused on, it's a future of spirit. Oh, Jenny, pulling it together here, of hope, right? But I think what God was telling me this week is, in there it says, declares the Lord, I have a plan. And so often we're walking through life feeling lost, feeling stressed, and not knowing why there's chaos in our lives. And I want you to know, when you start looking verses up, it says over and over again, I'm God and I have a plan. I'm God and I love you. I'm God and I see you. I see what you're walking through. I see where you are. I see your mourning. I see your tears. I see your laughter. I am walking alongside of you. And like my husband says, that prayer is a dialogue, not a monologue. And so often we don't take the time to hear what God has to say to you. And maybe this morning, I just want you to know that God knows. He knows, He sees, and He's got a plan. He knows, He sees where you are, and He has a plan. Well, that is all I have for you today. I really pray that you will spend time trying to hear what God has to say to you. Maybe you just need to cry some more. That's okay. Read through Psalms and see what the emotions of the psalmists were. Those are valid emotions that you're going to have with our God. And it's okay to show him your anger. It is okay to show him your sorrow. It is okay to share in the joy. It is okay to have all those emotions. And it's okay to feel alone, because sometimes you are alone with God. It is just you and God, and nobody else knows. Nobody knows what you've been through. Nobody knows what they're saying about you. But God does, and He has a plan. You can find us at christconnection.cc/Jen. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook. We would love to meet you there at Real Life with Jenny and connect. I know this is a week that you are going to see God's plans, and you're going to know that God sees you. You have a blessed week.